Good morning or afternoon, everyone. My name is Mariela Salinas, and I'm a marketing specialist here at Educate 360. Welcome to today's webinar, What is Program Management? Presented by our instructor for today, Seamus Collins. We
Hi.
are
Sorry, go ahead.
Hello. We are using Zoom for today's session, and we will be sharing a copy of this recording with you in an email after the webinar. We do encourage participation throughout the webinar, so please use the chat or the Q&A option for our short Q&A portion after the presentation. Educate 360 is so excited to present this webinar today. I will now hand it over to you, Seamus.
Hi, thank you. I'm just plugging, just changing a monitor the way it looks here for you. So just give me 2 seconds and I'll make a start. So welcome along, everybody. And what I want to talk you through today is this program management webinar. And we get a lot of inquiries about this. So it's good that a number of you can be here at the same time to listen in on what program management is all about. I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about the certification around program management and how you go about getting it and etc. So look, I'll make a start from here and hopefully you can see my screen okay, and let's make a start. And I'll take questions at the end as well, and I'll give you my contact details and you'll also get a recording of this session. So we've got about 25 minutes to get through this. I'm going to cover what is program management, what is the certification, why would you want to go about getting this? Many of you would have done the PMP, and now why would you want to do program management? So I want to explain the benefits in it for you. I want to explain the process. Some people don't want the certification, but they want to know about program management. So I differentiate between the what you can do if you're interested in that space, and then what do we do? How do we help you, etc., etc. But again, if there's questions at any point, just put them in the chat, or we can talk about them at the end. So the first thing anyway, I always explain to people is what is a program? Because there's a lot of misunderstanding about what a program is. And sometimes people think it's just a big project, and it's not that. And you can see here the definition from the PMI. It says it's a group of related projects, but we manage them in a coordinated way to obtain benefit, not available from managing them individually. Now, the best way I can explain this to you is sometimes you might have 3 or 4 projects happening, but if one of them fails, we can't get the benefit. So the example I would normally use in class is, imagine if I was trying to get a new electric car on the road. I'm going to say, okay, I need to build a car. That's one part of it. I need to make sure there's plenty of recharging stations, and I'd like to make sure the government give a benefit in kind or a grant towards it. Well, if I could build a car and get the benefit in kind, but there's no charging points, the likelihood of people buying is low. If I build a car and I have the charging points, but I have no grant, chances of buying are low. But if all 3 parts happen, my benefit is higher. And that's what we start to think about here, is that a program is these projects that we're going to glue them together because the success, the overall benefit is they all need to win. Okay. And if they all don't win, maybe we don't get any benefit, or the benefit is somehow compromised. Okay. So that's the key word I want you to focus on here. It's not about the size of a project or the size of an endeavor. It's about the number of endeavors or the number of projects that are happening, and we're gluing them together to create a program. Some programs can be strategic. You can come up with all these different things we need to do. They're all projects. We put them together as a program. That's a strategic program. Some programs, though, are what we call an emergent program. And an emergent program is, you could look at your portfolio on any given day and say, actually, that's dependent on that, and that. All these things need to happen. I'm going to create a program out of those. And that will really help me as well. So programs can be strategic. They're thought up and they're started up, or they can emerge. Okay, so again, keep that in mind, that it's not it's only from here forward we can apply program management. It's actually also retrospectively. The other thing I would say as well is that there's a definition here for program management, and many people who are project managers, they try and manage programs with the same project management tool set, and it doesn't work. Okay, because we'll see now in a moment, you're looking at the wrong level completely. In a project, you might be looking at a Gantt chart and critical path. In a program, we need to be looking at a roadmap. In a project, we might have a project risk register. In a program, I want a program risk register to understand how risks from one project could damage some interdependency with some other project or endeavor. So I need to drag my thought process. The same with quality, the same with procurement, etc. I don't want to be a busy project manager. I want to be a program manager. And that's why I want to show you the real difference here as we move forward. It's not just being a good project manager can be a good program manager, but if they haven't got the tool set or that change of mindset, they will fail. Okay, and many of us have been that person where we tried to have a 20,000 line Gantt chart with all the projects in there. And yeah, we need that, but we also need the roadmap. Okay, so let me talk you through some of this. So these are the modules that normally.
I'm so sorry,
The
Seamus,
question.
real quick. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a couple of blocks coming up on your screen that are covering content. Maybe we could close the presentation and bring it back up again.
Okay, I can. Blocks.
Yeah,
Okay. One moment.
not too sure.
Can you see my slideshow? 1 second. Display. There should be no display connected or anything at the moment.
Yeah, maybe it's not just on my end. I tried adjusting my screen, but there's like a block right in the middle of the screen.
Oh, I
Not
don't
too
see it. I'll
sure.
just bring it back up now.
Maybe
Oh, can you see it now? Is it gone?
that is gone, and then there's another one off to the right. That one
That's
maybe.
the one that you can move. You see it moving around now?
I don't see it moving. Yeah, no, it's still kind of just there. A little block is in place, unfortunately. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I don't see it on my side. There's nothing on my screen here. Can you see the definitions there of program and program management? Yes.
I can't. There is just a little block covering again the bottom right screen now. I don't know.
But that's the camera. Okay, I'll minimize
Oh,
that.
that's the camera. Okay, I'm so sorry. I didn't. There we go. There. Sorry, it was just
I
covering a little bit of
minimized the
content.
camera completely now. Okay, so these are oh, sorry, Mark. So these now are the modules in program management. Okay, now what I think a lot of people here will start to realize is that, okay, in here in the middle, we've got the program management lifecycle, and that has all the content that we're used to, say, from a project management course, where you have scoping, scheduling, cost, risk, communication, stakeholder, procurement. All of those things are still there, and they're all covered at the program management level. But look at where the thinking is in the other modules. Project management is all about, doing the projects right. But strategy is really all about, are we doing the right projects and programs? So really here, the first module of a good program management course is to get people an awareness of what strategy is. Because if you're leveraging yourself, if you're moving up through the organization, if you're down low and you start off, someone gives you the project saying, put in that production line, change that process, they give you the projects. Here at this level, when we move up the value chain, your boss has a strategy and you're trying to understand, how do we implement that strategy through a portfolio, through projects, through programs. So an understanding of strategy is fundamental if you're going to actually be a program manager. So that's the first module. The second module is a module on benefit, right? Because if you think about it, many projects, when we originally did them, it was all about producing deliverables. Now, the recent thinking has moved on. Obviously, we do projects to bring around the business benefit. But at program level, the real focus, as I showed you on the previous slide, is all about benefit tracking. So we'll see in here concepts like benefits register, benefits KPIs, when we're going to measure them, how we're going to measure them, who's going to measure them. So it's really, given that programs are a bigger amount of money at stake, it's all about benefit tracking, benefit realization, benefit transition, benefit sustainment. And the whole idea here is that you can, at the end of the program, say, did we deliver the benefit or not? Right? So the focus is on benefit, right? Now, that's a very interesting module, a heavy module, but you'll see then how it links into scoping and scheduling, because if there's no link between scope and benefit, we start to de-scope that part of the program. So it's very much stopping scope creep, etc., and questioning why are we doing something if it's not bringing us benefit. Many people coming on the program management course are taking some of the ideas here from this module specifically and implementing them then on their project management as well to say, actually, we could be better at measuring benefit. Okay, and understanding how benefit is measured, how benefit is realized, how benefit is transitioned, how benefit is sustained. The next module, stakeholder engagement. Projects have politics, we know that. Programs will have more politics. And because programs usually could involve, restructuring, redundancies, moving sites, God knows. So stakeholder engagement or stakeholder management is a huge, huge part of program management. So again, influencing, negotiation, the politics of it all, that kind of stuff is covered in there. And in here, then the governance. What does the governance look like for this program? What are the phases, the gates, what decisions can be made at what levels, who can make that decision, what can the governance board? The governance board has a huge, how do you set it up? Who should be on it? How do they vote, etc., etc. So all about governance, really. So that really is the fundamentals of program management. It's not just about taking something through a life cycle. It's understanding where the program came from, and if that strategy changed, how should my program align with it? It's understanding why we undertook the program and constantly being able to display to my senior management how this program is bringing benefits and questioning it. And as I said, it's a very interesting stuff for people that have been the project manager, now moving upstream to be the program manager. Okay. Now, just I want to look there at and a global view of systems engineering. Okay, what are the key differences between program management concept and a global view of systems engineering that looks at products, external factors, and landscape? I suppose rather than when I think about program management, it's just as when you're looking at systems engineering there, you're looking maybe at your product and what your competitors are doing. There's definitely a lot of strategy stuff covered in when you're talking there about your systems engineering. And I suppose that's why the strategy module is so important as part of this. But this program management then goes further in terms of once we have our program set up, how do we actually make sure it delivers? How do we actually move different pieces of it around at different points during the life cycle to align with external factors? So definitely there's going to be some alignment with the person that's doing that systems engineering or product manager type thing role. But the program manager here will also have those program management skills around scheduling, budgeting, governance, and those skills, not just the product skills, but also the management skills around it. And also, I suppose this is proving huge in a lot of companies at the moment where stakeholder management, that we'll see a lot of companies aren't fighting with their real opposition, they're fighting among themselves. So good stakeholder engagement, good stakeholder management, understanding things like cultural difference, etc., has proven very, very valuable to a lot of our senior program managers because, maybe the opposition was for a particular cultural reason or something that, the amount of risk wasn't, the appetite wasn't comfortable for them. And once you started to understand that it was cultural as opposed to opposition, we could overcome some of those challenges. Okay. So when you think about program management, so we're really looking at this big idea of, we have benefit that we're trying to get after. And that's what I said here is that project managers can be very good at requirements and deliverables. And some of them are very good at, understanding the benefit, the why. But program managers are really more strategic, understanding where the C-suite is at, what are we really trying to get out of it, and then maneuvering that program along the way. We track the benefits through our benefits register. We're constantly aligning, chopping, changing. And on project management, very often we see change as kind of something that has to be managed through change control and nearly is a bad thing. In a program that could be multi-year, you see the ability to change and move with those external factors and react to them as a good thing. Okay, to say, how can we optimize the benefit now given that change? How do we protect our benefit, or what components that we might have committed to are no longer now necessary, or maybe there's some new regulatory changes come in and we have to put a new component in to our program. So it's understanding what's part of our program, what's not, and be willing to change it. Okay, so this is the way the program life cycle works. And at a very, very high level, let's make sure there's another, at a very, very high level, we have this type of view of it from the PMI. And it's a bit like in project management, you have initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and control, and closing. Here now, if you look at it, the PMI, we have this idea of formulation. So we're trying to pull, this is a bit like your initiation, where the business has a strategy, and we're trying to pull a program together to deliver on that strategy to help the company realize the benefits. So in here, you'll be looking at things like, the vision of the program, the infrastructure required for the program, where the money is going to come from, because some of these programs might be funded from multiple strands. It could be internal money, there could be, I don't know, government support, there could be money coming from your sister sites, whatever, there could be money coming from third parties that are investing in research. So it's all about understanding, when's the money coming, who's it money coming from, what can it be spent on, is there constraints with it, and trying to initiate that program and get that benefits register up and running. Planning then is all about scoping out the program, scheduling it, costing it, putting a quality plan in place, resourcing the program, all of the things we'd see at project management, but at the program level. And while we're planning this out, we're starting to put in place our governance plan for the overall program. Once we get through our first gate or whatever here, and we start to execute the plan, then we have this concept of program delivery. So component projects are kicked off and planned. Each one of those could be producing some output or outcome and bringing us a benefit on its own, or it could be consolidated with other outputs and outcomes to produce an overall benefit. So as components are being done, we're keeping an eye on them, we're closing them out, getting approval from our governance board, and we could be adding more components, but they're all at a different stage. And I suppose if you think about it, if you're a project manager, many of your sponsors are maybe senior leaders. But if you're a program manager, more than likely you're the sponsor of the component projects. And that's the way it would be in a lot of companies. If you're the program manager, you sponsor them. Eventually, once all the benefits are delivered or the program is no longer as fit for purpose, we start to close out the program. And again, given a program is a bigger undertaking, there's a lot more involved in closing it usually, not just lessons learned and closed out, but there could be, infrastructure to be taken apart. There could be other projects kicked off to make sure the benefit is transitioned and sustained. There could be monies to be given back. There could be a whole lot of contracts to be closed out, etc., etc. So that's the life cycle of the program, and hopefully you start to see there how it all ties together. At a very high level, as I said, people are interested very often in, not necessarily the certification, but more they need to understand program management. And we'd see people a lot coming on our courses to say, look, I need to understand about strategy. I need to understand how to put a program together. I need to understand road mapping and program work breakdown structures and things like this, and program risk registers. And I need to understand how to manage delivery of these big programs, and understand how to stage them, and understand how to measure benefit as we go along to justify the remaining components of the program. So very often people either take individual modules of this and say they might want to focus in on strategy. Sometimes people want to look at the benefits register in great detail and say, just focus on that for half a day. Some people like to get into scoping of big programs and using their program as the example in class. etc. So it depends, but the standard look and feel of it looks something like that. So there are two options very often if you want to upskill in program management. Some people want the 3-day basic, forget about the certification. All I want is to understand program management. Some people want the certification as well, because maybe they've done the PMP, they got through that at the time. They were probably stressed when they finished with it and promised, never again am I doing an exam. But now, 3-4 years later, you're in this position and you're saying, actually, that helped me a lot. So now maybe the next step up is program management. That's where I should be going. I'm sick of projects. I want to move up to programs, or I'm trying to manage programs with project management skills, and this is not working out very well. So if you decided to do the PgMP exam prep, it's all those modules I spoke about earlier with some additional content that's very specific to the exam. As usual, we give you access to, support, and we help you with mock exams, etc., etc. But the big difference, it's very similar to the PMP, but we'll see now in detail, it is more complicated and is more time consuming. You still have to do an application, you still have to pay a fee, you have all these things, but it is a longer process and it is a harder process. Now, I did my PgMP 10 years ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a stressful day, but again, we've got a lot of supports in place now that help people as well and probably de-stress that slightly. Now, let me show you. Why would you want it anyway? Well, as I said, many people are at this time of the year, they come to us and they're saying, done my PMP, got value from that. I'm now at this position, or I want to move closer to the C-suite in my organization. I want to move closer to senior management. I need to understand strategy and benefit. I need to be able to talk that language. So PgMP is the next step up the ladder. Now, it's not for everyone, I would say, right? Because it is a tough slog to pass this exam. I would say that myself. Now, to get it, you have to apply, but you have to show 4 years of project management experience and 4 years of program management experience. Now, if you've already done the PMP, well, then you have your 3 years. So we add on an extra year on then. So we just resubmit that. But you then have to come up with 4 years of program management experience. And again, sometimes you need to look back at previous projects and say, my God, there was 4 work streams there. I managed it as one big project, but now thinking back about it, actually it was a program. So sometimes people do have to reflect back on examples like that. Some people are managing programs and they know what a program is and they're coming on the course to get the certification. So it's very similar, as I said, to the PMP, but it is more time consuming. And the reason it's more time consuming here is if you look at something like this, when you did your PMP, you submitted your application and they came back within 5 days and they said, you just need to, make payment and away you go. And the application itself was a few hundred words, 200 words on, 200 words on a description of your project. In previous to that, it was only 500 characters or something. That was really short. The PgMP, though, will want you to write 500 words on certain aspects of the program. So they might say, explain the governance structure you put in place, or explain how you manage the benefits on this program. So it's not something you can write up yourself, because you really need, I suppose, to have been on the course to understand the language and have us help you with it. And that's what we do. We help people with their applications because it is quite time consuming. But the problem is that it takes about a few months for them to come back to you. Whereas with PMP, they came back within, 5 working days and said, here you go, you're approved. Or if you're unlucky enough to be audited, it was quick enough as well. But here they're going to take months to come back. And that's really hard because, so we've kind of come up with a process that you'll have your application done and you send that away. And in parallel to your application gone away, you're starting to do your mock exams. So when they come back, you're pretty much ready to go. But it is probably a 6-month turnaround time approximately on this. Now, again, some people have done it quicker with us. They've written up their application very quickly. They understood it. They had good examples and they were able to write it up quickly, submit it. It was accepted and straight through. Other people don't need time to absorb the material. Some people take time to practice more at work with, benefits registers, governance plans, putting those things in place so that then they're really practicing this stuff at work so they can pass the exam. And that's really what the best way of doing it is, really. The same as the PMP. Once you pass the panel review, you can do the exam within 12 months. Okay, the same PDUs then apply for your PMP. So if you apply 10 PDUs to your PMP, it automatically applies the same 10 PDUs to your PgMP. So you don't need double the PDUs, you just need the same ones, they apply to both. Okay, the one big thing I would call out to you to be very serious about this is your PMP exam cost $555 US when you applied. The application for the PgMP is $1,000 US, and that's nothing to do with us. That's between you and the PMI. This is the exam structure. And the exam structure, if you look at it there, it's 170 questions in 4 hours. And again, it's broken down per the modules on the course. So again, you can see here that a lot of the course is still coming out of the life cycle, but more than half of it is focusing on, strategy, benefits, stakeholder, and governance. Why? Because those concepts are so important when we're operating at this level. Like, a lot of people can scope and schedule and put risk registers and understand that at the program level. But a lot of people take a bit of time to get comfortable with strategy, benefits, stakeholder, and governance. And again, I think that's the real learning curve for a lot of people, which is a great learning curve because it's stuff that we should know as program managers. How do we support you? Well, there are supports. We help you with the application process. We give you access to mock exams, and we're here. The same as our PMP course, where people call us up asking us questions. How do I do this? Why am I not improving? How can I improve my scores? Explain this to me again. We go through that every day here. So this is just at the PGMP level, really. And that's it. So I'm very conscious of time, obviously, that we only have a short bit of time together. Is there any questions from anybody there, please? Anybody have anything particular, or put it into the chat? I hope I answered that question earlier. Is there any other questions from anybody?
Yeah, I'll give our audience a good more minute. Oh, we have one coming in. Just as a reminder, in the meantime, while you guys get some questions in, we will be sending out a recording in an email after the webinar if you weren't able to attend the full session. So be on the lookout for that, just in case there are any questions about the recording.
The other thing, if anybody wants to reach out, can I just do the course and not the exam? Absolutely. And that's what most people do. They come to learn about program management, to upskill, to progress in their career. They're not interested in doing the certification. Some people are doing the certification because, they want that piece of paper. But I would say the majority of people are coming to learn about program management, not to take the certification, because it's a long process, it's a hard process, it's a maybe financially restrictive process. So they're saying, look, let me practice this, let me get good at this, and maybe then I can bolt on the exam at a later date. But definitely, Claire, it's people are coming for the training first and foremost. Okay, any other questions from anybody? Now, again, you'll see upcoming dates on our website and everything else as well. I'll send you, the course cost is all on our website. There's a course starting, I think, next week, 21st, 22nd, and 29th. It's all over Zoom. I think it's 3 days. It's probably about €1,200 as far as I know. But that covers, gives you all the material, 3 days training, templates, case studies. You learn a lot, and people do find it a big learning curve for themselves, definitely. So yeah, that's roughly the price and the next set of dates. Okay, can I get you can just contact me directly. Again, I'll just write in my address there, and as I said, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Anybody as well, or anyone in my organization can help you as well. but I'm here often. Just people often say, can I talk to you privately? I didn't want to ask a question. So there are my contact details, seamus.collins@velify.com. Just feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to answer your questions. Okay.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Seamus. This is a lot of fantastic info as our audience agrees with. I will let you guys know if you guys need any updates on class courses or on this webinar recording. But again, if you missed out on any part of the session, we will be sharing a recording with all of you in an email after the webinar. So thank you again, Seamus. Enjoy the rest
Thank
of your
you,
day,
everybody.
everyone.
Have a good day. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.